Hi, friends. Happy Monday. I hope you had a nice weekend and I hope you're finished all of your Christmas shopping if you have Christmas shopping to do because I am not done and I would not wish this upon anybody. But let's get to it. I did read quite a bit last week. Ugh. I read all these guys. I read, yeah, 2 English, 4 Japanese. I started a new English light novel. I dropped one Japanese light novel. I'm upset about that. And I am picking up eventually another Japanese light novel. So let's start talking about everything. So let's start with the light novels just because I can talk about them a little bit faster, get them out of the way. So, in terms of dropping, I'm so mad. For now, okay, just for now, I am dropping Reliving My Life with a Boyfriend Who Doesn't Remember Me. I loved this so much, and I'm gonna get upset talking about it again. This was completely spoiled for me on Twitter, and like the biggest twist of the story was spoiled for me on Twitter, and I'm not ready to. I'm really mad. I was so mad. So I'm putting this down for just for now until I calm down a little. It's like it's Nina the Story Bride all over again. I can't talk about it. So that's being dropped for now. In its place, hopefully it'll fill the void in my heart. I am picking up this one. I got this from Book Off in Japan. I only spent like $3 or $4 on it. And I really liked the art. I think the character design is very pretty. I know it's not even a manga, but I am a sucker for pretty character design. And this is another villainess. The previous one wasn't, but this one is a villainess story. And I really do like villainous stories. So I am picking this one up. Hopefully it will satiate my Japanese light novel needs. And then in English, I'm reading volume 2 of The Condemned Villainess Goes Back in Time and Aims to Become the Ultimate Villain. This one's technically, I guess, a villainess story, but it's not really a villainess story. She's not really a villainess. But I am liking this. I devoured volume 1 really, really quickly, and I am probably going to finish volume 2 just as fast. I'm about 80 pages in, I think. I just started this last night, and I read it very quickly. This is very good. The male lead is the guy with the white hair, but I am partial to my tanned, dark-haired boys, so I am rooting for him. He's new to this volume, so we'll see how it goes. But I am enjoying this so far. And none of that was a spoiler because it's made clear the male lead is the male lead in like chapter 1 of volume 1. Just putting that out there. Okay, now let's start talking about the manga. First one I read, well, these are not in order. I do not remember the first one that I read, but first on the pile, at least, is volume 1 of Kakuriyo Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. I did do a full video on this one in case you're interested, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about what happened in this one, but just like overall, this is a like kind of slice of life fantasy series. At least in volume 1, there is no romance, but I'm going to assume that there will be romance. It is a shoujo beat series, and typically, I think I do like most shoujo beat series. This one is it's like a very very slow burn. Obviously, it's called Bed and Breakfast for Spirits, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be about a bed and breakfast, but we don't know that with volume 1. And I did like it. I do feel like I talked about this before, but I feel like I've at least watched some of the anime and then promptly forgot about it because volume 1 did seem familiar enough, even though I've never read this before. So like I'm pretty sure maybe I started and then dropped the anime, I don't know. But I did really like this. It's about a girl who is able to see ayakashi, or like demons, or like not really demons, but just like monsters. I know, really the same. And she gets kidnapped by an ogre to be his bride because her father owes him a great deal of money. She doesn't want to marry the ogre, not because he's an ogre, but because she just met him. Okay, that's where she draws the line. And so instead of marrying him, she has to work in his like inn to be able to like pay back the money. And so she has to find a place to make money, and we don't know what she's going to do yet as of volume 1. That's like the basic in terms of my ratings for it. In terms of the story, I think it's cute. There was like a gap in my collection for like cozy fantasy series, and I think this is really the first one that I can add. So I do really like the story. In terms of the characters, I find them all to be a bit like fun. There's no character growth whatsoever. It's just the first volume though, but I don't feel like I know enough about any of the characters in order to be able to really like say if I like them or not. I know what's her name? Aoi. Like, I find her funny. I don't. She just goes with how everything. Like, she doesn't care that she was kidnapped. It feels so. I find her to be funny, not all that realistic, but it's like I can pretend, I can pretend like sure this is the new normal now. So I'm okay with that. I think her like ogre, this guy here, ogre fiance but not fiance because she refused the marriage, is questionable. I know nothing about him. We don't know if he's good or bad. We know nothing about him. So I don't know. But I like the nine-tailed fox demon. I think he was kind of the star of volume 1, but again, we don't really know him at all. So we'll see how it goes. In terms of romance, there's no romance, at least in volume 1. That's all we know. And do I recommend it? I do if you like cozy fantasy stories. I don't think this is going to be like a very high stakes series. We do have some like dangers that Aoi faces, but she typically gets through them very quickly. So I think it's going to stay cozy. I think. Again, I've only read volume 1 and I don't remember the anime. So who's to say? So that's this one. That's Kakuriyo Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. Next one's one that everybody knows, which is volume 1 of Kamisama Kiss. I love this series so much. This is by Julieta Suzuki. This is my second series by her. I also have the Otaku Vampires Love Bite, but I think this is better. This is like her this is her like golden child in my opinion. This is a series about our female lead here, Nanami. Nanami inherits like not the deed, but I guess inherits the deed to an old temple through she doesn't really inherit it. She's like gifted it by the old owner who is like a drifter kind of. But she gains ownership of a temple when she goes there. Surprise, surprise, she's the god now and she has to be the god of a temple. And she has familiars and she just kind of has to learn how to live that god life while also being a high schooler. And that's like the biggest generalization of the story. I know if you're a fan of it, you'll be like, Maddie, what? That's not what it's about. But that's like a really big generalization of it. In volume 1, we are introduced to Nanami and Tomoe. Tomoe is this guy here. He is a fox spirit. And we are just kind of introduced to the story. There is some action in this one, and their relationship is completely established in this volume. I watched the anime forever ago, but I've never read the manga before. So I know like generally what's going to happen. I know my favorite characters. My favorite character isn't here. I like the snake. I don't know when the snake arrives, though, is the thing. So I'm looking forward to that. But this is a really, really fun series. I'm waiting for the snake. In terms of manga versus anime, I do think I like the manga more. Like generally I am more partial to manga than anime, like no matter what. I prefer reading, but I do think the tone of the story does differ depending on the medium. I find especially Tomoe in the manga is a little bit more haughty. He's a little bit more like holier than thou, a little bit funnier. I think at least I feel like he comes across just better in the manga. But again, I like manga more, so that just might be me. But I do prefer the manga so far. But I did love the anime. I like this more. In terms of my rankings, do I like the story? Yeah, it's really good. I really do like how they got to the action like very quickly. Like the story is moving fast enough that it's really exciting, but not so fast that you're like, whoa, like what's happening? Like I do think it's a good speed. In terms of the characters, like I said, I think Tomoe steals the show in this one, especially the scene with the fish where he's forced to shake hands with it. I found that to be funnier in the manga versus the anime. Just me. But I like all of the characters. Like Nanami's a great female lead. We do meet the fish lady. I think she's fun both in both forms. Were there many other characters? There weren't all that many other characters in this volume. But yeah, I think they're great in manga form. Romance, there will be romance because this is a romantasy, but it's very slow burn. No romance, like not even an inkling of romance in this volume. And then do I recommend it? Honestly, if you haven't read this manga, you need to. If you like shoujo manga, this is a must. It is so good. I recommend this to everybody. I liked this so much. Like typically I prefer reading in Japanese. I liked this so much. I didn't care that it wasn't in Japanese. I was just devouring it. It's really good. Okay, moving on. I read volume 3 of Ore to Mouichido Hatsukoi. This series has 5 volumes total. It will be coming out in English. I think it's coming from Kodansha, I think. next year in, I think, March, if I'm not mistaken. It's early next year. It's in their spring lineup. I highly recommend this series. This is really good. I really love this author. This is by the author of Gokutsuma Days, or Boss Bride Days, Bride Boss Days, one of the two, which is already in English digitally. This one is a memory loss reverse harem series. And those are two tropes that I really, really like. So, of course, I'm going to like this series. Overall, the story in general, I'm not going to spoil anything in volume 3. Just volume 3 was very good. Overall, this story is about, we have our female lead, Mia. I'm really fun with names. We have our female lead, Mia, who announces to somebody on the phone, I know who I'm going to marry. And then she gets hit by a car. And when she wakes up in her room surrounded by 4 very handsome men who are all claiming to be her boyfriend. But she has complete memory loss. She has no idea who she is, who are all of these men, and none of the men seem to know each other either. So she is very confused. Obviously, like, she's not dating all of them. She's not going to marry all of them. What's happening? And so she has to figure out, like, okay, who is her actual boyfriend? Who is she planning on marrying? Because technically she could be dating all 4 of them at the same time, but she was only planning on marrying one of them. Are they all being truthful to her? So she has to figure out all these things. There are a lot of people lying to her about a lot of stuff, like, just throughout the series. And it's really fun watching her kind of have to, like, discover what's actually happening and what's actually not happening. She is the very rich only daughter of a couple who is not in the country. So she has this, like, grand loft with a butler, and it's just like, wow, she's rich. She is also only 17 years old, so she still is in high school. She is a lot younger than I thought she was when I first started reading this, but that's what it's about. So, memory loss. Who will I actually marry? Maybe she could wait a little bit because that is very young to get married, but it is what it is. So, yeah, in volume 3, it's just a lot happens. We just learn more about the guys. I have a guy that I am hoping will be the male lead, but I don't know. A lot happens with him in this volume. We learn a lot about him, and it's like, oh. So, like, you want to read volume 4 as soon as you read volume 3 because it does end on a cliffhanger, and it like crazy stuff happens. It's crazy. But into my ratings. For this story, this is such a good story. It's so captivating. Sometimes I feel like memory loss stories can get a little bit stale, just, like, depending on how they're treated. But because of the, like, amount of deceit that happens in this volume, or in the series in general, I do think it stays fresh. There's always something new and interesting happening. All of the characters are very interesting, at least in my opinion. So that hits the character arc. So yeah, story and character, beautiful. All of the characters in this one, again, so good. I do like some more than others, but there are actually no characters that I, like, actively dislike. I like, okay, there's one that I don't want her to get with. But even if she ended up with him, I'd be like, okay, like, as long as you're happy, like, I'm happy for you. But yeah, I think all of the characters are very strong. Like, and normally in reverse harem series like this, typically, like, 1 or 2 of them will be left out to give the spotlight to the, like, actual contenders. And while this one really does have like only 2 that I can actually see her getting with, all 4 of them are given, like, ample time to be developed, which I really like. For romance, there's, like, hints of romance here and there, or, like, romance almost happens and then it stops. But, like, it's enough to keep me, like, satisfied, and I want to know who she ends up with. But it's not enough where, like, okay, they had their romance, so I know they're gonna end up together. There's nothing like that. She has little bits of romantic, like, scenes here and there with several of them. And then, do I recommend this? Yes, highly recommend, and it's coming out in English. Yay! Next one. I also did a video of this one, I'm pretty sure, which this one is called Uchi no Banri ga Oseo ni narimasu. This one's coming out in English through Yen Press next year. The English will be Thank You for Taking Care of Our Boy Banri. This is an actor culture series. There's like one romantic scene in it, but more or less it's about, like, the bond between a very, very rude actor and his new manager. And it's like they're not family, but they're, like, kind of like family. They're like aibo is what he calls her. They're like buddies. This story is about, yeah, so Banri here is a young up and coming actor who is like stupid popular right now. He sells easily. So like he can be hired easily. If he's in something, it'll sell. Kind of character or kind of actor of this company, but it's a known secret in the industry that he has the worst attitude ever. Like he sucks kind of attitude wise. So nobody wants to be his manager. Our female lead's sister works already for the industry, finds out that he needs a manager, and tells her sister, like, hey, like, you know that actor Banri that you like? Because on TV, he is like the sweetest little sweetie pie. You wouldn't know he has a bad attitude. So the younger sister is told, like, hey, you know that actor Banri you really like? He needs a manager. And our female lead is like, oh my God, Banri, like, I could be his manager and then we could get close. And then before you know it, we could be dating because we're working together every day. Like, amazing. So our female lead picks up the job, thinking that the Banri she sees on TV is how the actual Banri is like in real life. And then she meets him. And right away he calls her ugly to her face, which is like awful. So he's like, who's this stupid ugly kid? Like, you're not gonna be my manager. Like, if you are gonna be my manager, don't talk. The only time you need to talk is to say either yes or woof. And that's in reply to me. That's all you ever gotta say. That's the first thing he says to her. So like, he sucks. But our female lead already took the job, so she's stuck with him. So she has to figure out how to deal with his terrible, terrible, awful personality. That's what this is about. He does calm down a bit throughout the series. I will say, because this one starts with volume 0, which was the one shot, and then it has the like chapters 1, 2, 3, 4. I did not like the one shot. I read chapter 0, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna continue this. I don't like I'm okay with like a mean character. Like I like a good toxic romance, but I found him to be I don't like it when men call women ugly for one. Even like that's just mean. Like especially first meeting right to her face. I think that's mean. I just found him to be a little bit too over the top mean. But he does calm down. I'm glad I continued reading it because it did grow on me. I did end up liking it. Just I didn't like the one shot is all. So in terms of my rankings, so yeah, the story did grow on me. Eventually, I did grow to like it. For the characters, we do learn more about Banri. We learn why, kind of. He is so not nice. Part of it is just he does, like, that's just who he is. He just has a bad attitude. But part of it does have a reason. So we do learn more about the whys. We learn about some of his, like, good attributes. So he's not the worst character. Our female lead, I think she's okay. I think she does work well with Banri. Yeah, I think she's okay. She's not the worst female lead, but she's absolutely not my favorite. I will say I do like her character design. You can kind of see her on the back here. I do think she's really cute, and they work well together. So I think they're okay together. In terms of romance, again, there's one scene that's romantic, kind of, but there's this is more about friendship in my eyes. I can if they end up dating, I don't know how I'll feel. I don't know. I like them together as manager and actor, and I hope they stay that way. And then do I recommend this? If you like series about like idol culture or actor culture, I think you might enjoy this one. But you have to be ready because he does have a bad personality. I don't know how it's gonna work translated into English. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. I'll have to check out the English. Because in Japanese, he is really mean. We'll have to see. Because sometimes when mean characters in Japanese are translated into English, they're like brought over the top mean. Like they're made extra mean just because of that's how it's translated. So we'll see. If he's made any meaner in English, I don't think I'll recommend it because I find him to be mean enough in English or in Japanese. Okay, moving on. I read a lot. I read volume 1. This one was so good. Of Ookami Shounen Magami-kun. This is such a good series. I think there's 2 or 3 volumes out. I think there's 2 volumes out right now with volume 3 coming out in January. Is that I think how it is. This one's Japanese only, about a wolf boy. Literally it's called Wolf Boy Magami-kun. It's so good. So in this series we follow our female protagonist Sakura. Her name is Sakura, I remembered, who is kind of a shadow character. So like even in school, her classmates don't know her name. Her teacher often like her voice just like doesn't enter his ears for some reason, and she calls herself a see-through person all the time. But so she doesn't like humans. But or I guess humans don't really see her. That'll like issue. But one thing that does like her and that can see her are dogs. The neighborhood dogs really, really like her, and she really likes them. So even though she escapes, I guess, the senses of the people around her, she can hang out with dogs and she feels loved and she feels seen. One day, when she's taking a walk with one of the neighborhood dogs across the river, she sees like the most beautiful boy ever. He has white hair, like pale skin, and he's so beautiful. She thinks he's not human. And he disappears in an instant. So she's like, wow, he really wasn't human. Okay. Kind of spooky. Next day at school, that same beautiful boy appears. He just so happens to be a transfer student named Shio. If you know French, Shio is French for like a puppy. And I think that's just cute. So Shio comes to their class and he like stares directly at her. And I think it's like her first time ever like being looked at like that before, because she like instantly is like, oh, like, I'm being looked at. And she feels like a certain kind of way about it. And ever since Magami or Shio enters her class, he's just like staring like into her soul. He's never not staring at her, it seems. So she's kind of weirded out. She always feels like his eyesight on her, even if she's not looking at him. She knows he's kind of staring at her. One day after school, her teacher asks her to bring, so he does see her when he needs something. Her teacher asks her to bring a box of supplies to the supply room. She goes, okay, takes the box, leave the class. And then it's only after she leaves the class that the teacher says, oh, by the way, the door, it's broken. But she's gone. And like, he doesn't care. He's a bad teacher. But she takes the box to the supply room. Surprise, surprise, she gets locked in it because the door's broken and he didn't warn her in time. So she's locked in there. And she is on, I think, the third floor. So she goes to the window, tries to like call for help. But like even when she's in the same room as her classmates, they don't notice her. So of course they're not going to notice when she's missing, like waving from a window that nobody's going to look at. Except for Shio. Because he keeps staring at her for some reason. So he climbs a tree, hops into the room that she's stuck in, and literally kicks the door down, saving her. And they get to talking, and like Shio is actually surprisingly like a really sweet character. But things happen, they topple on top of each other, and he goes, wow, like you really do smell good. She goes, what? And then poof, and he transforms into a wolf. He's a straight up wolf. He's a werewolf. And he runs away. So, oh no, wolf boy Shio is a wolf. He has these little ears. And then the story continues on about their relationship. I really, really liked this. Just looking at the cover, I thought Shio would be a little bit more like aloof, kind of cold, more of a tsundere character, but he's not. He's a very, very sweet character. And at times, only like at times, he does remind me of Zen from Love That's an Understatement. Only at times. And maybe that's just because I like Zen and I want to see him in other characters, but that's just me. So I really do like the series. It is very much like a friendship story about like finding self-confidence, like the things that you like make up a part of you. So you shouldn't be embarrassed to talk about what you like, stuff like that. I really, really like it. It's a very sweet series. I need to get my hands on volume 2 right away. I want to read it. But talking about my ratings, in terms of the story, I really do like the story. There is not like mystery, but there are like, I don't know how to put it. Shio is not supposed to reveal the fact that he's a werewolf, obviously. And his family is very unhappy with the fact that he transformed in front of Sakura. So there is like some strife happening. I'll say that. There's some strife happening within the series. And we know there are other werewolves in town because they are Shio's siblings. And so we're going to learn more about them. This does end on a cliffhanger, and I need to know what happens. So the story is very gripping. I need more. In terms of the characters, there are really only two strong characters, which are Shio and Sakura. But Shio's dad is like crazy. I really want more of him. And then we also meet one of Shio's siblings in this volume. The rest of the characters are just kind of background characters that don't really matter. In terms of romance, there's no romance in this volume, just friendship. And then do I recommend literally to everybody this? I really want this one to get an English translation just so I can talk about it with my friends. I do think this one is a seinen. I think it doesn't really matter, but when I looked it up, it is seinen, and it's published in Zenon Comics Comics. But again, it doesn't matter. It's a nice series. Okay, last one I read does have an English and it's super old. This is volume 2 of Kiss Him Not Me, or Watashi ga motete dousenda. This one, okay, super quick because this video is getting long. This one is another reverse harem series. I like a good reverse harem, what can I say? About a girl here, Kai, who is a fujoshi. She really likes BL, basically. One day when she gets skinny, 4 boys like can basically confess to her. They tell her they want to date her now that she's skinny. Um, and she's like, I like watching boys. I don't like being with boys. And then that's basically it. So she is very uncomfortable with the notion of dating boys, and she's very uncomfortable just being around them because she has no experience. The 4 boys are like, that's okay. Like, we'll all hang out together. At least that's what happens in volume 1. So they're like, it's weird because none of the boys really like each other all that much, but they all like Kai. They all want to date Kai. So they all hang out in a group hoping to like one up each other to get with Kai. We have, I'll like point, him and him are already buddies, like from the beginning. So they're cool to hang out with each other. But these 2 boys are like in constant like fighting. And then he just loves everybody. He's like the big pacifist of the group. And then these 2 don't have a relationship. We don't see them together, at least in the first 2 volumes. So I don't know. In volume 2, we see Igarashi is his name, this guy here, realize like, hey, I don't like any of you guys. Why am I hanging out with all of you? And he straight up tells Kai, like, I want to date you, not these boys. So can we go out on a date? He kind of puts pressure on her to like speed things up, which I get because like it's kind of weird saying, I don't know if I want to date you to all of them and then making them all hang out. She doesn't make them hang out. They do choose to hang out, but he wants an answer. So he tries to force things to go his way a little bit in this volume, which does make her uncomfortable, but their relationships do kind of progress, I guess, like the tiniest bit, like 1% maybe. In volume 2, we see them go through a school festival where they all go on a little like 20 to 30 minute date with each other, which ends up being way too much for her. And then we see them go to basically what's like a Comic-Con for BL comics, really. And they all go together and they like have a plan to buy all the books that Kai wants and then go to karaoke after. At the Comic-Con event, we do meet a new character, and because I watched some of the anime, I know that she will be like a new main character, and I really liked her introduction. At least I liked the introduction in the manga more than the anime because of course I did. So I am excited for her to make an appearance from volume 3. She didn't really stick around all that much. She was just introduced in this volume. And that's this one. In terms of my ratings, for the story, I think it's fun, but it's definitely a product of its time. There are problematic parts, but overall, I do think it's fun. I think especially the art is it's unique. Like, you know, it's from this series. In terms of the characters, I think Kai is fun, but I think honestly she should have just said I'm not ready for a relationship to all the boys, but like I get it. Like she's in a pickle, I guess. He is my favorite because he's just like chilling. He likes everybody. He's the sweetest. I don't know how I feel about Igarashi. I was liking him at least in volume 1, but in volume 2, he like everybody was having fun, and then he was like, "You know what? I hate you boys. Like Kai, we're going to go on a date." Like I found him to be like randomly pushy. He was pushy in volume 1 as well, but I feel like it was like only slightly pushy, and it like didn't harm anybody. In this volume, it clearly harmed like everybody, which I didn't love. So, we'll see. Nana doesn't really do anything in this volume, and neither does he. So my opinion of them doesn't change. In terms of romance, like I can't say this is a romance yet. No, like in my eyes, no romance has happened yet. And then do I recommend it? If you like BL and you like comedy, sure, you'll probably like this. Like it's a fun, funny series. But if you don't like BL, no. Like you won't I don't think you'll be able to enjoy it as much as if you did. I'm not the biggest BL consumer out there, but a lot of my friends are, so I know the world. And I have read some. So I am like I find it funny. I understand the terminology and whatnot. And yeah, that's everything I read. I probably won't be doing all that many videos this week because it's Christmas this week and I am not done my shopping. I'll have to get on that. Yeah.